The Albora mansion was silent. Even the ticking of the clock seemed hesitant, as if the walls themselves were afraid to disturb the tension filling the air. Alya sat alone in the living room, her hands tightly clasped, her eyes lost somewhere between hope and exhaustion. The storm that had begun weeks ago hadn't yet passed, it had only changed direction. The door creaked open slowly. Sadakat'i entered, her expression cold and unreadable. In her hand was an envelope, thick, official, and heavy with intent. Alya looked up. "Mother Sadakat'i, you called me?" Sadakat'i didn't answer right away. Her steps were calm, deliberate. She placed the envelope on the table and finally spoke, her tone steady. "Yes. Sit down. There's something we need to end today." Before Alya could reply, Cihan entered from the corridor. His eyes immediately went to his mother's hand. "What's this?" he asked, suspicion in his voice. Sadakat'i looked at her son without emotion. "These are divorce papers." The silence that followed was sharp, almost suffocating. Alya blinked, unsure if she'd heard correctly. "Divorce?" she whispered. "Yes," Sadakat'i said firmly. "You and my son have lived under this illusion long enough. It's time to stop pretending. Boran has woken up, and he's your husband, Alya. You belong with him." Cihan's fists clenched. "Mother, this is madness." "No," she replied coldly. "This is the only way to fix what's been broken. You can't build happiness on another man's pain." Alya rose slowly from the couch, her voice trembling. "You think happiness can be forced by papers? You think love dies because someone says so?" "Love?" Sadakat's tone dripped with disdain. "You speak of love while a man lies paralyzed in a hospital bed because of you? You call that love?" Cihan stepped forward, anger rising. "Enough. You don't get to talk to her like that." Sadakat'i turned sharply toward him. "And you? How dare you speak to me this way? I am your mother." Cihan's voice softened, but it carried the weight of years of silence. "You're my mother, yes. But you've forgotten how to love. You've turned our home into a battlefield. Alya isn't the enemy, Mother. Your hatred is." For a long moment, no one spoke. The tension was unbearable. Then Sadakat'i took the papers, placed them in front of Alya, and said quietly, "Sign them. Let's end this before more damage is done." Alya stared at the documents, her heart pounding. Her hands trembled, but her voice was clear. "No." Sadakat's eyes darkened. "Don't be foolish, girl." "I said no," Alya repeated louder this time. "I've already lost too much because of fear. I won't lose the man I love just to make you feel powerful." In one sudden motion, she grabbed the papers and tore them in half. The sound of ripping echoed through the room. Sadakat'i froze, shocked. Cihan looked at Alya, a mix of love and fear in his eyes. "Alya." Sadakat's face turned pale with rage. "You dare." "Yes," Alya interrupted, her voice shaking. "Because I'm done being afraid of you. You think you're protecting your family, but all you've done is destroy it." Tears filled Sadakat's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "You don't understand what I've sacrificed for this family." "Then tell us," Cihan said quietly. "Tell us what you're really hiding." Before she could answer, the phone rang sharply. Cihan grabbed it, listening for a few seconds. His face changed. "What? When?" His voice cracked. "We're coming." He hung up and turned to them. "It's Boran. He's in critical condition." The world seemed to stop. Alya's heart dropped. Sadakat'i gasped, clutching the table for support. Minutes later, they were rushing through hospital corridors, the air thick with the smell of antiseptic and fear. Nurses moved quickly, doctors shouted instructions, and alarms blared. Sadakat'i ran toward the emergency room door, pounding on it with her fists. "Please let me in. He's my son." A doctor stopped her gently. "You have to wait. We're doing everything we can." Cihan held Alya's hand tightly, feeling it tremble in his. She stared through the small glass window, her tears streaming silently. "He can't die, not like this." An hour passed. The clock on the wall seemed to move slower with each second. Finally, the door opened, and the doctor stepped out, his face grave. Sadakat'i rushed forward. "How is he?" The doctor hesitated. "We tried, but his body rejected the transplant. We couldn't save him." Sadakat's knees buckled. No, you're lying," she screamed, pushing past him. Let me see him. She ran inside, fell beside Boran's motionless body, and clung to his cold hand. You can't leave me. Please wake up. You promised me. Cihan entered slowly, his eyes red. Alya followed, her steps heavy. The sight was unbearable. The machines had been turned off, the room filled with quiet sorrow. Sadakat'i looked up at them, her face twisted in grief and hatred. This is your fault. Both of you. Alya shook her head, barely able to speak. I tried to save him. I gave everything I could. Liar. Sadakat'i screamed. You wanted him gone. You wanted my son's place for yourself. Cihan stepped forward, his voice breaking. Stop it. He's gone, mother. Don't make his death even darker than it already is. Sadakat'i turned on him. You were supposed to protect him, not her. Cihan's eyes filled with tears. I couldn't protect anyone. Not him, not you, not even Alya. Alya reached for him, whispering, It's not your fault. None of this was our choice. The room fell silent again, except for Sadakat's quiet sobbing. The only sound was the steady dripping of an four that was no longer connected to anything. After a long while, Nair appeared in the doorway, her face pale and stunned. The police are here, she said softly. They want to talk about the investigation. Sadakat'i looked up slowly, her expression changing. Investigation? Cihan turned to Nair. What investigation? Nair hesitated. About the accident. The explosion. The one that nearly killed Ekmal. The police found new evidence. Cihan froze. Alya's eyes widened. What do you mean? Nair took a shaky breath. They think Boran planned it. That he wanted revenge. Ekmal was his daughter, and he blamed Alya for everything. Alya's legs gave out. She fell into a chair, shaking her head. No. That can't be true. Sadakat's face went blank, her tears suddenly stopping. You're lying. It's in the report, Nair said. He arranged everything. He wanted to destroy Cihan's life, and Alya's. Sadakat's body trembled. No, my son would never. Cihan's voice was quiet but steady. He did. I knew for weeks. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't. I didn't want to destroy you. Sadakat's expression cracked, pain twisting her face. You all knew and you said nothing. Alya whispered through tears. Because we hoped he'd change. Because we wanted to believe he still had goodness left. Sadakat'i turned toward Boran's body, her voice breaking into a sob. You were my son. My only one. Why did you do this? Cihan moved closer to Alya, placing a hand on her shoulder. Let's go. There's nothing more we can do here. But Alya didn't move. She stared at Boran's face one last time. I loved you once, she said softly. And even now I don't hate you. I just wish you had chosen love instead of revenge. Sadakat's cries filled the corridor as Cihan and Alya walked out. Behind them, the door closed slowly, a quiet end to years of pain. Outside, the night was cold. Rain had started to fall, washing the dust from the streets and the blood from the past. Alya leaned against Cihan, her voice barely a whisper. Will it ever stop hurting? Cihan looked at her with tired eyes. Maybe one day. But for now we have to survive it. They stood there in silence, listening to the rain. Somewhere inside the hospital, a heart monitor beeped faintly, and then it stopped. And with that sound, another chapter of the Albora family ended. Quietly,